There you go. You're a flat earther. You don't know. You do know. You're just pretending that it's flat.
No, I don't. I don't pretend it's flat. I say it's definitely not flat. I can have.
What's your evidence for it not being flat? Don't say it's got hills, mountains, and terrain, because that's moronic.
We can measure elevation changes. Thus
that's not
making
the
it
shape of the Earth.
No,
that's not the shape of the Earth.
Flat.
That's not the shape of the Earth.
I know it's not flat.
Yes,
right.
But I
know that. Like you, Farmer's Boy. I deny being a flat earther. That's what the discussion is. But that's not a rebuttal. Like, you deny being a flat earther. Does that make you a flat earther?
No, because I know it's a sphere.
Because you deny it's a flat earth. Right?
I know
you deny.
I know it's a sphere.
So, do you have a proof that it's not flat?
I have, potentially millions.
Potentially millions.
Well, it depends which one I select.
Mm-hmm. So, would you like to select a proof that it's not flat? And then we can discuss them. We can discuss them within a debate scenario, you and me. You go with your proof that it's not flat, and I'll go and show my proof that it's not flat.
I've just shown you my proof that it's not flat.
What? That's a picture. That's not a proof.
Is it not?
No.
Let's see your proof then.
It comes through a syllogism, a logical statement. Where's your proof to go with that?
Saturday morning.
I know. You want to discuss it though? You asked me to invite us in.
I did not ask you in here. I don't want to discuss your bullshit.
What does this say? It says here. Want to discuss being a flat earther and denying being a flat earther. That's you.
And you don't want.
That's you making that statement.
Yes.
And then Blue says, "Come on in." So I'm in here, at the request of you, because you want to discuss being a flat earther and denying being a flat earther. Now, you personally, you have said that you deny being a flat earther.
Yes.
Right. So you want to discuss you denying being a flat earther?
No.
Okay. You want to discuss me denying being a flat earther?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll make the statement, right? I have a proof that it is not flat. So I cannot be denying that I'm a flat earther. I can prove that I'm not a flat earther. As a statement, right? I can prove that, Farmer's Boy.
Can you?
Yes.
What's your definition of flat earther?
Well, I don't have a definition of something that doesn't exist.
Oh, so flat earth doesn't exist? Oh, right, okay.
Yes. It's not flat.
So there are no flat earthers. There's no flat earth movement. All of these videos of people claiming the earth is flat. It's all bollocks.
Not flat, Farmer's
You're absolutely right. It isn't flat. No, it's a sphere.
Okay, brilliant.
It's a ball.
What's a ball?
The planet that we're on.
In your imagination, you can say that. Where's your proof?
Not in my imagination.
Do you have a proof for that statement?
The Earth, satellites and space stations in orbit around it. Oh, you're going to deny that they're a thing then? That Well,
I can give you
space stations.
I can make a logical argument for you.
Can you really?
Yes. Do you want me to?
Sure, this would be good.
Okay. Modus tollens. The one that QE tried to do it and he didn't finish it off.
Don't care about QE.
Okay.
He's an idiot.
Yeah. Well, that's nice. Ad hom. Say whatever you want about other people.
No, it's not an idiot. No, it's not an ad hom. It's an insult.
Okay. Well, nice that you go along with that as a start. Right. So here we go. Listen to this. Take this as a statement. If the Earth is a spherical object, as you say, right? Because that was your statement. So if it is, then then the surface of liquid water must curve at rest. I suppose you could add to that. The surface of liquid water at rest must curve. Yeah, you like that? That's a consequent, antecedent consequent relationship.
Blah de blah. Yeah, keep going.
Okay, so that's a P and a Q statement. But a water level is a tool for establishing a horizontal plane of reference.
Oh, fuck. Have we gone all the way back to this again?
That's not what a water level is for.
No, it's not. Go on, Paul.
A water level is for establishing equal potential in gravity. It doesn't establish a horizontal.
Mm.
You're wrong right from the start there. Your argument, your modus tollens is flawed right from the very beginning.
What with the statement, a water level is a tool for establishing a horizontal plane of reference?
Yeah, that's right. Where does it establish a plane of horizontal reference, Bev?
The water level?
Yeah, where does it establish the horizontal?
In between the 2 points of the water level.
Yeah, whereabouts in between?
Anywhere in between. The
False.
entirety in between. It's a horizontal plane. You can move either of those ends of the water level to any position to identify where the horizontal plane exists in between the two.
False. That's not true.
Well,
as soon as you move one or both of the ends of the water level, you're establishing an entirely different horizontal plane, which is not parallel to the one you had established just prior.
Well, that sounds a bit of a massive claim that you're making right there.
Really? It's demonstrable.
Well, now that definitely is a claim, isn't it? To say that it is demonstrable.
It definitely is a claim, yes.
Well, I can
typical zenith angles do.
I can show you that a water level is indeed a device that establishes a horizontal plane of reference, as in all of the points lie on a horizontal plane of that water, that body of water, establishing with the hydrostatic. That's a horizontal plane.
False.
Yes.
No,
definitely that is demonstrable.
I'm sorry, but it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Because clearly the horizontal at one end of the water level is completely different from the horizontal at the other end of the water level.
No, the 2 points establish the horizontal between them.
You're not listening to what I say, are you, Bev? You completely whistled past the very words that I actually said. I said that the horizontal at one end of the water level is completely different from the horizontal at the other end of the water level.
There is only one horizontal from one end to the other. There isn't.
No, that's wrong too. There's one horizontal in between the two ends, but there are multiple horizontals in between the two ends.
The horizontal plane that's established by the water level.
Is it?
Yes. Yes.
Where is that horizontal plane established by the water level?
In between the two ends.
Whereabouts in between the two ends?
The shortest distance between those 2 points would be a horizontal line or plane, especially when you have a device called a level that establishes horizontal planes.
No, I'm sorry, but you're wrong, Bev. The horizontal plane that a water level establishes is exactly equidistant from the two ends in the middle. That's where the established horizontal plane is. Nowhere else along that line of sight between the two ends is that horizontal the same.
Well, that'll be up to you to show your good people. Nice Christmas present for you to be giving everybody.
Yes, that's what reciprocal zenith angles do, Bev. That's what they show. They show that the two horizontals at each end of the water level aren't the same.
I doubt that you've actually thought about that geometrically, and the fact that the perpendicularity of vertical and horizontal.
Bev, because Shouldn't all the points in between the two ends include the two ends, Bev?
Yeah, it's a horizontal plane. Everybody knows, with zero slope or tilt or curve or anything.
When we actually establish the horizontal at point A and we also establish the horizontal at point B, and then we find that those two horizontals aren't parallel, then that kind of indicates that your premise is false.
No, you're separating A and B.
The two horizontal planes at A and B are completely different.
No, it is the horizontal plane established between A and B.
The horizontal plane established between A and B only exists equidistant from A and B. As soon as you go towards A or towards B from that point, it is a different horizontal that is not parallel to the established horizontal between A and B.
Well, you seem to be the spokesperson for this. I was just hoping that everybody else of yours on the sphere side
else here agrees that they'll say the same thing, Bev.
I know you because you're sort of telling them to. You do him like a Nathan Oakley, where you're over talking him to make sure. Yeah, but the way you're saying this, nobody's ever
actually telling any. When did I actually tell anybody else what to say, Bev? I didn't tell anybody else to say that.
Well, yeah, well, just wait and see how many people, whether they all agree with you, whether they're all fully on board with this.
Say it. I'm sure they'll say it, Bev, but it's not because I told them to say it, because I didn't anywhere tell them what to say. That's just an assertion that you made. I don't know why you would make that assertion.
Well, like I say, you seem to be the big voice on this. I was talking to Farmer's Boy about Modus Tollens.
To me. Yeah, you're right. You were talking to Farmer's Boy, but now you're talking to me.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that statement about the modus tollens, you have a problem with it because you don't think that a water level is a tool for establishing a horizontal plane of reference.
Well, it can establish a horizontal plane, Bev, but it only establishes a horizontal plane equidistant between the two ends, nowhere else.
But there's no other part of the water level there in the middle.
I wasn't quite finished, Bev. You're rude. Yeah, no. It only establishes a horizontal plane between the two ends. Any other point other than the point that's equidistant between the two ends, that horizontal will be a different horizontal.
It's just the one horizontal plane, though.
Yeah, the one horizontal plane
from A to B.
No, not from A to B. Yes. Equidistant from A to B. There's a point between A and B where that horizontal is established. That is the only point at which that horizontal has been established. The point that's equidistant between A and B. In other words, in the middle between A and B, that's where the horizontal is established and nowhere else.
Well, I would suggest that the entire horizontal plane is established between A and B. And that being a horizontal plane can be extended mathematically in a straight line indefinitely.
Why is it, Bev, that when we establish the horizontal at A and we also establish the horizontal at B, we do this by looking at the zenith, right?
Of a water level. Keep on the water level.
It wasn't quite finished. Why
but you have just moved from a water level.
Why do you feel it necessary to butt in when I haven't
completed what I'm saying? Because you're doing a non sequitur.
No, because you're scared of what I'm going to say, Ben.
No, you're just doing a non sequitur.
When we establish the horizontal at A by looking at the zenith, because that's how we establish horizontals in reality, isn't it, Ben? Yes, it is, Bev.
No, with a water level, that's not how we don't use
water levels to establish horizontals, Bev.
Yes, we do.
No one uses a water level to establish a horizontal.
Yes, we do.
We use the vector of gravity to establish a horizontal, Bev.
We have a test where we use a water level.
All surveying instruments use the vector of gravity to establish a horizontal by first establishing a vertical, and then 90 degrees to that vertical is by definition the horizontal. That's how it's done in reality, Bev. Nowhere do you use a water level in surveying.
You say that you You don't use a water level in surveying.
No, we don't.
No.
Have you ever heard of a canal?
Water level.
Have you ever heard of a canal?
I have heard of a canal.
Have you ever heard of a surveying process called differential leveling?
Yeah, I have, Bev.
And are you aware that process is how
level,
you establish the levels for the
does
canals?
Not use a water level, Bev.
The canal system used the water levels.
Differential leveling doesn't use a water level, Bev.
Within the canal system, the differential leveling is shown within the levels of the water within the bodies of the canal in between locks. That is a water level, a static water level. And that shows that there is no elevation change apart from in the lock system, where there is a vertical change. That's
true,
in
though,
reality. Yes, in reality.
Not in reality, Bev,
actually,
because
yes,
in reality, surveyors apply a correction when they do surveying. They apply a correction because of the curvature of the Earth, so that their elevations are in fact correct. Because if they didn't apply that correction, then the elevations would not be correct.
They correct a horizontal, do they?
Yes, they do, Bev.
But a horizontal is just perpendicular to vertical. What sort of a correction would you apply to a straight line?
We've established that horizontals are perpendicular to vertical because that's how we establish horizontals in surveying, Bev. We first establish a vertical by using either a pendulum or a self-leveling, auto level, which uses gravity anyway to establish the vertical, and then we establish the horizontal from that. So if we pick 2 points and we establish the vertical, and then we establish the horizontal at each of those points from that vertical, we notice that those horizontals aren't parallel, Bev. Why?
I don't know. All horizontals are parallel.
But they're not, Bev, because
they are,
we can
though.
Demonstrate that they aren't. Because when I look through my auto level at the other auto level,
why you citing auto levels with auto levels? That's fucking ridiculous. Come on.
It only has to be a quarter of a mile away, and then we can do that. What do the crosshairs on an auto level indicate, Bev?
I just point out that this guy is just said he's citing auto levels through auto levels.
What do the crosshairs on an auto level represent?
Obviously cursed. This must be one of your
curses. What do the crosshairs on an auto level represent, Bev?
The crosshairs on an auto level are perpendicular to each other, and some of them represent stadia hairs.
What does the horizontal central line on an auto level represent, Bev?
A straight line in geometry.
The part where Bev plays the little game. He won't answer the question honestly because he knows very well
you haven't got a clue.
A horizontal line in the center of an auto represents, folks. It represents the horizontal plane established by the auto level at the position that the auto level is positioned. That's what the crosshairs represent, Bev.
That horizontal plane extends outwards, doesn't it?
The extension of the horizontal plane out to infinity from the position of the auto level. As long as we sight through that auto level, as long as we sight through the auto level,
will be parallel, won't they?
When we sight through the auto level, and we look at the crosshairs, we know that we're looking along that plane that's been established at the point that the auto level has been set up. That's what the crosshairs represent, Bev. They represent that plane at the point that the auto level has been set up.
The plane?
Yeah, that's what the crosshairs represent.
Understanding what a plane is.
If it didn't represent that, Bev, then there would be no usefulness in the crosshairs, would there? We wouldn't be able to use them to read a statement.
There is a limit to how far you can actually read, though, isn't it?
Oh, there's a limit to how far you can read a Stadia stick, but no matter how far you sight,
Stadia
that
stick's just a measuring rod.
no matter how far you sight, that crosshair still represents the horizontal plane that you've established at the point of the auto level.
It's in the eyepiece of the auto level. The image comes to your eye.
What the fuck does that mean, Bev? Those are just words that don't actually mean anything.
That's the way it works. Your eye sees the image
by saying
that
that's
comes
the way
to
it
your
works.
eye.
So here we've got an image that comes to your eye, and that's the way it works, folks. That's a great explanation.
That's what you measure. You measure the measuring rod.
But that's not how optics works,
I don't know
Bev.
what you're doing.
Right? Yeah, I do know what I'm doing.
Talking about a horizontal, you're all over the place, man.
That's what the crosshairs represent, Bev.
Yeah,
because if those crosshairs didn't represent
is
the
this what you wanted,
plane,
Terry? With this? Does it not sound a bit angry?
If those crosshairs didn't establish a horizontal plane out to infinity, then at what distance can we read the horizontal plane off at, Bev? Because that's what you're doing when you're reading a Stadia stick, aren't you? You're reading the horizontal.
I'd say there's a limit I put a limit of 50 meters on it, but
why?
People can push it to 100. I don't know whether they get brave or whatever. Some people just say 30 yards.
Why is there a limit?
The maximum limit? Because you can't read the numbers on the measuring rod to a millimeter, and you like to stay millimeter accurate whenever you're doing any of these actual surveying processes.
I don't need a stick or a rod to be present to know that the crosshair represents the horizontal plane.
In order for you to do surveying, there are 3 vital components, of which the measuring rod is one of them. You can't just get rid of it. Otherwise, you're not talking about surveying. Then that's nice of you to know.
I can get rid of it.
This man is not talking about a surveying procedure.
I can get rid of it, Bev, because when I look through my auto level, I know that the crosshairs represent the horizontal plane that I've established. That's what I take for granted. Every time you read your Stadia stick, you are taking for granted that the crosshairs represent the horizontal plane that you've established. If you can't,
I know how it works.
If you can't,
there's no need to get upset and trying to tell everybody this moronic process that you're doing.
No need to overtalk me, Bev, because if I can't assume that crosshair represents the horizontal, then there's no point in me reading the Stadia stick in the first place. There, Bev.
You seem lost, man. Like really lost.
You seem lost, Bev, because a simple demonstration.
We're talking about a water level. Like, listen to yourself.
Well, I'm not at the moment. A simple demonstration
it's
like reciprocal zenith angles seems to trigger the hell out of you, Bev. You can't explain why reciprocal zenith angles.
Why are you talking about an auto level? What the fuck are you doing?
Well, we can do it with theodolites then. What about theodolites?
You've just swapped it again. You're all over the place.
I'm not all over the place.
We started off with a water level, a water level, and a canal, and now you've gone to an auto level, and now you're on theodolites measuring angles.
Bev,
we're just talking about a horizontal.
Bev, you're continually over talking me and butting in. Why?
Because you're talking shit.
No, you're talking shit, Bev. I could use the same excuse for you. You're just not polite, Bev.
Just tell everybody about your process of how you can tell that you have falsified horizontals being parallel.
Okay, because what I can do is I can set up a water level and I can put a theodolite at each end of the water level, and I can establish my horizontals at each end of the water level using a theodolite, and then I can line up the theodolite and look through them and find out that the theodolites, if the horizontals were parallel to each other at each end, then the theodolites should be looking directly at each other. But they don't. They look above each other, Bev. Why do they look above each other, Bev? Because if they were establishing a horizontal that was parallel to each other at each end, they would not look above each other, Bev. But they do. So the water level does not establish a horizontal between the two ends of the water level all the way along that distance between the two ends. Because if I put a theodolite at each end, they don't look at each other, Bev. Why?
I'm going to have a go at drawing this for you. That's critical think, right?
No, wrong.
It's not critical think.
It's not critical think.
Dude, you don't half sound like critical think.
Well, I couldn't give a fuck.
So, cursed. Sorry. I'm just going to draw this. You carry on for a minute. I'll try and do my best representation of what
the thing you could try and do your best maybe would be to explain why, when we put a theodolite at each end of a water level, that they don't look at each other, Bev. They don't establish the same horizontal. Why?
My understanding of a water level, it just creates an equal altitude positioning on a surface. That's what I've used them for.
Yeah, it creates a level surface, not a horizontal surface.
Because level and horizontal aren't the same thing. And in 35 years, I've never seen anyone use a water level on a building site. I think if anybody tried that, they'd just get laughed at.
Well, I've used them for
would.
what I do here. I used them for roller doors, concreting, stuff like that.
But I mean, these days now on building sites, if you're doing anything sort of small scale, and particularly indoors, they just use a laser.
Yeah.
I mean, the ceiling boys use that for putting the ceiling. You know, where's the grid going to go? And you just put a laser up, and there's your line all the way around the inside of a room. Boom. I mean, and outside, you're using auto levels, theodolites, GPS. That's getting more and more common these days.
Over the distance on a typical building site, a water level being like a horizontal and a level surface, the difference would be very, very small anyway. I mean, it'd be a fraction of a millimetre over a very small building site. Even a building site that was like 50 metres, it wouldn't be very significant. The difference between level and horizontal would be not very much. But when you start getting into large distances, it does matter.
Okay. Can you see what I've got set up there? Can you see my camera?
Can I make you bigger? Well, let's see if I can make you bigger somehow.
Double click on it. Yeah.
Double click. And get rid of hide member.
Well, click on him, he'll make it
hide member.
Right. See the water level? You okay with that? As a water level from A to B, and we just fill it up with water. That was what you said. Yeah? Kirst? Can you see it?
I'm seeing. I'm watching.
So we can. Okay. You've got a water level A to B. Yeah, and we just fill it up with water, and it goes static and it equalizes out. Now, this point here is neither higher nor lower than this point. Right? And we know that because there would be water flow if there's any difference in elevation from this side to this side, right?
That's not establishing a horizontal.
That's a water level. That's exactly what a water level does, right? No slope. It
establishes equal elevation points.
Yeah, there's no slope to the line between here and here. It doesn't go that way, it doesn't go that way, it doesn't come towards you, it doesn't do anything like that. The plane that will be established by this water level is, I'd say, a horizontal plane. But I mean, let's go with we have a water level. This is what you said. And we've fitted a level at each end of it, right? So at each end of this water level, we now have a level, like you said. This is your demonstration of what you were talking about. Now, do you want to put a distance in between this A and B? Because we are doing it just geometrically.
Let's go about a quarter of a mile.
Quarter of a mile. Okay. Now, and you can make it a mile or a quarter of a mile. 400 meters, 600 meters. Something like that, right? So a manageable amount, right? Now, what was it you were saying about this level here? What would that do? Because I'd say that this water level establishes the level, but you've put these levels
it
here.
establishes that. Of course, the water level establishes a level, Bev.
Okay.
That's what a water level does. It establishes points of equal elevation.
Okay, right. Now, what happens? What sort of level will this level produce?
Do you mean by the word level? You're using the word level in different contexts there.
This is a water level, and this is an auto level, and this is an auto level, right?
What does an auto level do, Bev?
It produces a horizontal plane of reference.
What does a water level do?
Produces a horizontal plane of reference.
No, a water level produces points of equal elevation.
Okay, then well, tell us what will happen then.
Produce a plane of horizontal reference.
What will happen in your imagination at the level at here at A? What will that line look like?
Above the point of equal elevation at the other end of the water level.
What? Up here.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say up here somewhere. Now, what about this level?
Same. It'll be the same on the other side.
It will establish a horizontal which will point above the water level at the other end. Yeah.
Up here.
Exactly.
Right. So, according to you, right, this tool that it is establishing a level with zero slope.
No,
right?
No, we use our words correctly, Bev. It doesn't establish a level. It establishes a horizontal.
Okay. Now, as everybody knows, a horizontal has zero slope. But you seem to have it pointing upwards, which definitely has a slope to it, right? Because
a horizontal doesn't have zero slope. A horizontal horizontal is perpendicular to vertical at a particular point. That's all it is.
That is a straight line that goes all the way from this horizontal to this horizontal through the water level. But that would be the horizontal that would be established by each of the auto levels, right?
No. The ends of the water level do not establish a horizontal, Bev. They establish points of equal elevation. That's where you're going wrong.
You want to put a tilt to the horizontals established here and here. You want to slope it.
That's because we can demonstrate that those
horizontals. You can't demonstrate a horizontal sloping because it's not a horizontal if it's got a slope on it.
I wouldn't use the word sloping, Bev, because the ground between them isn't flat. So why would I use the word slope?
It's an equal altitude. It's in the air.
Yeah, that's right. It's an equal altitude above a curved surface, Bev.
No.
Yes.
No, where's the curve?
The curve is there, Bev.
Where?
It's just not very evident.
Not in the horizontal. It definitely
it's
is.
there, Bev. That's why the auto levels point above each other, Bev.
They don't point above each other.
They do, though, Bev.
Horizontals do not slope.
Do, Bev. Horizontals point above each other at distance. They do, Bev.
It's been measured. It's been documented.
That's what reciprocal zenith angles show, Bev. That the horizontals do, in fact, point above each other.
No, horizontals do not slope. They are all parallel to each other.
I agree, they don't slope, but they point above each other.
There's no slope or intersection between the horizontals established at either end.
Then why is the height of the horizontal plane established at one orbital level higher in elevation at the other auto level.
Which has been documented and shown.
It's a reality, not a.
Yeah, the reality is, Bev, that the point on the horizontal plane established by the left auto level.
That one.
Right? Yeah, right. So now we go to the horizontal plane. We extend that horizontal plane out, and we find that the elevation of that horizontal plane above the second auto level is actually higher.
Like this.
Exactly. Because that's a straight line.
Yep.
Exactly. Wait a minute.
That's the reality. That's what's actually measured.
Yeah, a straight line from that auto level into space.
The verticals aren't parallel, so the horizontals can't be either.
And let me just check. Something like
You start
this.
with a vertical, don't you? You don't start with the horizontal.
And don't
Something
forget
like
this.
that.
Yeah, don't forget this is over
that's right.
distance. Don't forget this is
That's
over
right.
distance. Don't forget
Yes.
this
That's
is
right.
over.
What
And
happens
that
in
also
the
I
Don't
don't
forget.
think so.
Do I have to
These
mute everyone so I
This
can get
one
a 2
is
cents
not
worth?
horizontal, and this
that's
one
what-
is
I'm just
not
going to have to mute everyone
horizontal.
just
This
so I
is-
can talk.
this
They're
is-
horizontal.
That's what
They
a
are
horizontal
horizontal
looks like.
there. They are horizontal.
How do I
at the
mute
points
everyone?
they are horizontal at the points of the water level.
If I'm not going to
That's
get to
not
talk, I'm
a
just going to mute
horizontal.
everyone.
The horizontal that
You're
you're
in-
doing by putting the line through each end of the water level is only a horizontal to the surface of the Earth in between, right in the middle of the 2 points of the water level.
right between.
That's where the horizontal is parallel.
This is actually measured. We don't. This is not.
What's been measured?
It's an unavoidable and measured truth, Bev. Whether you want to like it or not, I don't care.
Nobody
I've just put 'em in
has
the chat. I
ever
just put 'em in the chat.
measured
We've
a
measured it.
sloping horizontal.
Nobody
It
said it
doesn't-
is sloping, Bev.
Well, those
Nobody said
are.
that.
They're visually
they're not.
sloping. Yes.
Listen,
They're
Bev.
visually
Those
not
horizontals are
horizontal.
perpendicular to vertical at one point and one point only. They can't be perpendicular to anything other than one single plumb line.
Yeah. All perpendiculars to a plane will be parallel.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, except
We've proven that's wrong.
Except
No,
here, Bev,
Blue.
we have two separate
You
planes
can't
being
have
defined.
proved it's wrong. That's ridiculous.
Yes, I have. Yes, we have, Bev.
All perpendiculars to a plane will be parallel.
Bullshit,
Yeah,
Bev.
Bev, that's
that's-
right. But here we've established two
Oh,
different
don't tell
planes.
Blue he's wrong. You're
Bev,
not allowed to do that.
Bev,
Blue marble
Bev,
science.
Bev,
Don't tell him he's
can
wrong.
you stop a moment so I can actually finish what I'm saying?
Just let,
Here-
let
here-
Blue hear that again.
Bev,
Go on.
Bev,
Tell
Bev,
Blue
here
again.
Bev, you might not like what I'm about to say, and that's why I suspect you keep interrupting. It's because here we've actually established two different planes.
No, there's only one horizontal plane established between A and B.
No, there's not.
No.
There's a horizontal plane established at A, and there's a horizontal plane established at B.
Yeah, I'm sorry for you. I feel sorry for you.
No, Bev, that's where the horizontal plane has been established. That's what the auto level does. The auto level only establishes a horizontal plane for the location where it is, Bev.
I hope you're enjoying yourself on Christmas. Like this. We have
Because
been doing
as soon as I
extensive
shift-
testing
as
on this
soon as-
sort of stuff.
As soon as I shift that auto level, Bev, I establish a different horizontal.
Horizontals don't slope.
No, they don't.
No, they don't.
But they're different at different locations, Bev.
They don't intersect either.
Yes,
Yes,
they do.
That's
No,
the trouble. They do.
they don't though.
They do, though,
They
Bev,
do.
as measured. In reality, they do, Bev.
No, they don't. Horizontals
Yes, they do.
are
Because
perpendicular
what you're
to
doing-
vertical.
What you're actually doing now, Bev, is denying real-world measurements.
So obviously, Bev,
Well,
you
my
haven't.
understanding is that horizontal and vertical are perpendicular.
At
Like
a
we,
particular-
everybody
I'm not
knows.
gonna raise my voice,
Everybody
so I can be
knows
heard.
within mathematics.
Everybody knows also that the
Oh,
horizontal
that's all right.
and the
Go on,
vertical are
got
perpendicular,
chance,
but
Gary.
only at one particular point, Bev.
No, all perpendiculars to a plane will be parallel.
What's the longest
Yeah,
distance you've
but,
done?
Location B, we've
Fuck's
got a
sake.
different horizontal plane.
I'm going to
It's
shut
not the
this
same
down.
horizontal plane as we have at point A.
I'm stopping this.
Sorry, Terry, what were you saying?
I've been trying to talk for the last half hour, and everyone keeps talking over me.
Go ahead, Terry. I know you didn't want to have any arguments or to get it heated.
Well,
Not
people,
got any.
people's testosterone and ego does get in the way of a good conversation.
Yes, cursed.
Yeah,
No,
I
it's-
mean,
it
the
takes
horizontal
two
plane
takes two
established
to-
at point A
It
is
takes two
completely
to
different than the horizontal plane established at point
Okay.
B.
Can you let Terry talk?
I know. I just don't think some people have self-awareness. That's a very bad attribute to have.
I apologise, Terry, for bringing a picture into it to try and demonstrate.
No,
Bit too much.
pictures are fine. I don't mind diagrams and drawing and things like that. What distance of reciprocal angles of theodolites have you done at all, Bev?
I haven't. I believe it's ridiculous to measure such a small angle over such a large distance, especially vertical angles. I don't believe it's actually done by anybody other than a few people who pretend that they're doing it for some purpose. I mean, I can't even imagine what the surveying process would be for you to need to be able to do it. What can you imagine that? Like, what is the surveying process that it would require you to do that?
Where you set up one auto
distances,
level at
basically.
one particular site, and then you can get a marker at the other end, and then
That's
you
how
get
you
your other theodolite at the other end, and do a reciprocal angle back to the other point where the other theodolite was.
Not with an auto level.
Well, or
Yeah,
whatever
your
auto
auto
level
level.
theodolite, were either.
Angle
don't- they
measuring
both have-
devices.
They both have crosshairs on it. That
Yeah, you don't measure vertical angles with an auto level, though. It just doesn't do that.
but aren't they
It's
vertical?
not a
Not
tool
Aren't
for
they
vertical
measuring
vertical to their?
vertical angles.
Aren't they vertical to where the plane that they're standing on?
You measure a vertical distance.
No,
From
but
the
aren't the
horizontal plane that you
theodolites or total stations or whatever they are? Aren't they vertical at the point of where they're established? Aren't they set up that way?
They set it up on a horizontal, right? The device is established on a horizontal.
They set up at a vertical, aren't they?
So they're on
We
a
call it.
vertical.
I think everybody calls it the azimuthal plane. That's what they
said it-
orientate everything to. Or all tools will be established
No, we
and
said it-
orientated to the what you call the azimuthal plane, or I call a horizontal plane.
We set up to a vertical, not to a horizontal.
Yeah, that's what I've known as.
The azimuthal plane is horizontal, though, right?
There's no horizontal reference, only a vertical reference.
But the azimuthal plane is a horizontal plane, right? Orientated.
It is derived from the vertical.
But it is a horizontal plane, right?
How do you get the horizontal?
That all
How do you get the
tools and
horizontal?
instruments will be orientated to.
Yeah, but how are you getting
step
the
one
horizontal?
of
How are
the
you getting the
procedure.
How are you getting the horizontal?
It's the azimuthal plane.
No,
that
how
you
are you
establish.
getting it? Not the title of it. What is it?
You
what is it?
establish it.
How do you
How?
establish it? How?
By establishing the level, the orientation that you're going to establish your tool to.
How?
Circular
Well, there's
reasoning,
no-
Bev.
Yeah, that's how.
Who?
That's
You
not
guys are doing the circular
That's-
reasoning.
Oh, it's
No.
easy. You establish it by establishing it. That's your answer, Bev.
Yeah.
No, you guys are just
That's what's
saying
your answer.
you use a different straight line when they're all perpendicular to each other. But there is no
no.
difference.
No, there is, because
But
we
you
say that
definitely
we establish
established
a
the
vertical.
horizontal
We say
plane.
we establish a vertical first, and then we establish a horizontal from that vertical, Viv.
A water
That's right.
level doesn't work like that.
A
don't
water
use
level
water
doesn't
level.
establish
Surveyors
a
don't use
vertical.
That's
The
why
water
we're
level
talking
doesn't.
about a water level.
No surveyor uses a water level,
Not to
Bev.
establish a vertical, they don't.
You can definitely use a water level to calibrate your auto level.
You can
can't you?
definitely use a water level to find 2 points of equal elevation, and that's all you can do with it.
Yeah,
You
that's
can
all I've ever
calibrate
done.
an auto level with it, can't you? Of
No,
No,
And so do you use that for measuring?
course you
because
can.
a water
So,
level
no.
has 2 points of reference. A theodolite or those things, they're only just standing in one spot. They're singular.
Yeah, but you have a
not a double.
foresight and a backsight. That's 3 points.
And how many
Isn't
points? And how many points does a water level have?
No, it's not actually 3
Yeah.
points.
Yes, it is. It's the
No.
device in the center,
No.
and then a foresight, 1 point, and then a backsight, another point.
But
Both
you've
of
only
them are
established your
distant
You've only
from
established
the
your
center.
but
3
you've
points.
only but you've only established your horizontal at the
3
position that your
coplanar
auto level or
points.
theodolite is at.
3
That's all.
coplanar points.
those are not coplanar.
Yes, they are.
With an auto level, no, sir, they are not.
Of course
That's
they
why
are.
you do. No, bullshit, Bill. That's why you do a
The
foresight and a backsight.
center and
They
the
are not-
foresight and the backsight, they are
They are not
all
They are
coplanar.
not coplanar. The point in the center is not coplanar with the 2 points you're looking at on your measuring rods.
They should be, Blue.
No, they're not. They will
Yes,
never
you
be,
should
and that's
know
why
about
you do a
this
foresight and a
process.
backsight.
God's sake.
If you had actually taken a course in surveying, you would know this, Bev.
I do know this, Blue, because I
don't know
know the principles. Why is it not coplanar? Please explain
Bev,
how a
you're on
device
curved-
that
you're on
establishes a
curved surface,
horizontal
Bev. You're
plane
shooting
of
a horizontal
reference,
line.
how all of the
You're
points
shooting
on that
a
horizontal
line
plane
that is
are not
perpendicular to vertical
coplanar.
at the point of the auto level. That's all you're doing. And every inch you move away from that auto level, every inch you move away from it, level deviates from horizontal at the rate of 8 inches per mile squared, I might add. That's provable. You showed it to us at Blackpool.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you showed that in an image.
I'm just saying, Blue, the auto level establishes a horizontal plane of reference. Every
No.
point that's taken,
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that image from Blackpool. That's a good one, that one.
Yeah, I probably posted it a minute ago.
so what? You're saying that the auto level doesn't establish a horizontal plane, and all of the points that you measure won't be on a plane. They won't be coplanar.
That's right.
That's fucking ridiculous.
That one at Blackpool, if you had another auto level at the same altitude as the one you had to start with at the other distance where the tower was, that would have been interesting to have
I
seen.
haven't got a
those
clue how
results.
you guys think you can get away with this. How can an auto level not establish a horizontal plane of reference?
Because
It does, but only at the point that
Oh.
the auto level is standing.
yeah, exactly.
But you measure foresights and backsights.
To what?
And you do
They're
that
what?
because
all
the
To
on
earth
the
is curving,
same
Bev.
horizontal plane.
No,
What do
you measure foresights and backsights to eliminate the curvature of the earth. That's one of the reasons it's done. Laugh all you want to.
No, I'm
Well,
just
you're just
laughing at
showing your
people in the
ignorance.
chat saying a load of stupid
I mean,
shit.
any surveying textbook will tell you what Blue has said is correct.
It's horizontal
What are you
plane.
What are you looking at when you do the foresight and backsight test, Bev?
You are referencing the land beneath to the horizontal plane that you've just established with the tool, the auto level.
Did that
All
answer-
points on that horizontal plane will have an equal elevation, an
No, they
equal
will not.
No,
altitude.
they won't.
That's
Sorry, but they
absolutely
won't.
wrong.
And you are measuring
just
the
sitting here lying
difference
to
of
the
the
audience,
land
Biff.
to that
That
horizontal
didn't answer
plane.
my question.
You're
'cause
just
I-
sitting here lying to the audience,
Don't
Bev.
say that I'm
It does
lying,
not.
Blue.
Yes, you
It's-
are lying, Bev. You know better than this.
that
You've had
Yeah,
this
because
explained to you
This
50
is
times.
turning into
Can I
gaslighting right now.
reiterate my
Why
question?
does
This is
survey
very
books,
strange.
Bev, then
Why don't you just let me
why
get a
does survey
chance to have a
books
say anything?
Let Terry have a
What-
say. So let Terry have his say. It's his show.
I know you keep steamrolling over me every time I go to talk in between. That's very rude of everyone.
Yeah.
waiting for you to have your say, Terry?
I've been trying to. Just waiting for Bev to come back.
I'm back. Carry on.
Oh,
Back,
sorry.
Terry. Go ahead.
What you're saying about the I'm not very good with the terminologies of certain things, but you said you turn the theodolite one way and then you turn it back the other way. You get a
The auto level.
or the auto level. Sorry.
Other level.
Yeah.
You're saying that you can turn them around to do something. You turn
Yeah,
them
you have a foresight and a backside. You can
yeah.
turn it around 360 degrees. It
And
does
what are you
a
and what are you
full
lining
turn.
what are you lining the crosshairs to?
No, you set the tool up, right? And then that establishes a horizontal plane. You then use the horizontal plane that you've established with the tool to reference the land to. You measure a vertical distance, a perpendicular to the horizontal plane. Yeah, at
What's
each
the-
end or
what's-
wherever you sight.
You're talking about
And
the
then
side,
you
the
can
sides-
reference the relative elevations of the land relative to the horizontal plane that you've established with the tool, the auto level.
Yeah, but what are you seeing? You're seeing the
Then why-
crosshairs through the eyepiece.
You're seeing the measurement on the measuring rod. That's what you're reading, and you're writing that down.
With the
That then
crosshairs.
tells you how far away the land is underneath that horizontal plane that you've established with the tool.
I'm just trying to clarify. You're using the crosshairs that's in the eyesight, the eyepiece that you're looking through.
You're using the horizontal plane that is established by the tool. Yes.
Then why do surveying books tell us, Bev, that we have to apply a correction of 0.024 times 1,000 feet squared? Why do surveying books tell us that we have to do that when we take height measurements over a certain distance?
Well, you don't.
But
You
surveying books tell us
measure
that we
you
actually
measure
do
the you measure the distance. You literally do that. You can see the number on the measuring rod. That's what you measure.
But
So
I've
every
seen this in
surveying book is
surveying.
wrong.
Yeah, I've seen this in surveying books, and I've had certified surveyors actually say this as well. Why do they say that, Bev? They use it in reality, Bev.
They just measure the distance on the measuring rod, and then they know how far away the land is below that horizontal plane that they've established.
Yeah, but they also use a correction. Why do they use a correction?
I've
Bev?
never needed to use a correction. Why would you think that you need to?
Are you a certified surveyor, Bev?
Well, for measuring the height of the land away from a
Are
horizontal
you
plane.
a certified surveyor, Bev?
No, I'm not. Are you?
Okay, so I would take the word
Are-
of a certified
are you?
surveyor
Are
over
you?
No,
Are you?
but
Well,
I would trust the word of a
Is the certified surveyor
I
here?
would trust
Blame
the word of a
Tom.
Don't get
certified
angry.
surveyor above you then, Bev. I would
Okay.
trust what a certified surveyor, because they've obviously done the study and know what they're talking about.
Studied
Why is
about
it- why is
horizontals
it that
and
this-
levels.
and
you
why
reckon?
is it that this correction is mentioned in almost every surveying book too, Bev? Why is it there if it's
What?
never used?
What correction?
The one he just
0.024
mentioned.
A correction to a
times
vertical
0.0
distance
the
measured.
The one that I said before, the 0.024 times 1,000 feet squared. Why is that correction in every surveying book, and why do certified surveyors use this correction?
I
to
don't
get
know. I'm just
accurate-
talking
to
about
get accurate heights when using
Bev,
surveying.
stop interrupting, Bev, or I'll mute you. Okay, don't stop interrupting. Let people talk.
I mean, are all the surveying books wrong, Bev? Surveying book you used in your course, so we can go and look up to see if the same corrections in that book, Bev.
So
But you won't
don't
tell us that,
you
will
have to have some sort of surveying training or documentation that you've done all this to know all that stuff that's written in books?
Yeah, I've got it there. Land surveying qualification, a grade A. Strangely enough,
What technique did you use, Bev?
what I don't know.
Don't know. You should still have it. Did you sell your textbook?
No.
Textbook.
Don't
Textbook.
you usually get
Yeah.
some sort of book. When
Did you
do
use
your
a
course.
Did you use a surveying textbook in your surveying course?
I can't remember.
Well,
I
you
can
must
just remember
remember.
I've got a certificate here. Do you want to see it? Look. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's
No,
not
your
saying-
certificate means nothing.
I don't care about your certificate. I'd rather know what book you actually used.
Yeah, what? Yeah,
Bev.
doc,
I
yeah,
don't
what?
care about your certificate.
Yeah, what type of
Land surveying. There you go.
Yeah, what books?
Land
Did,
Yeah,
surveying
I'd rather see-
certificate. Have
I'd
any
rather
of
see
you
a copy
guys?
of the
Have any
textbook
of you
that you
guys
used.
got a land
whenever
surveying
I've done a course
certificate?
at
No,
Anyone
TAFE,
else got one of these?
Yeah, actually.
whenever I've done a course at TAFE or technical and further education, which
Do
is
any of
something
you
where
have
you
this?
could get that from.
Anyone
You
have a
always
certificate
get a
surveying?
textbooks that you get to keep from doing those courses.
Just because you did
Um,
an element of land surveying in the course that you did overall doesn't mean you're a qualified land surveyor. Have you
No,
practiced as,
No,
as
I've
you,
just done
has-
land surveying. I've got an auto level, yeah.
have you actually worked as a land surveyor? In other words, have you done contracts as a land surveyor?
No,
Well, there you go. Then you're not. Then are you?
I've never claimed to be a
what-
land surveyor.
That's
What-
right then.
what-
Just said I've got a certificate. Is there
what
something
bit-
wrong with that?
You
Do you,
s-
are you
the
upset?
certificate- I'm just no, I'm not.
Don't
upset
worry
at all.
about it.
Not-
No,
I'm
has
not- I'm not
anybody
worried.
else got?
I'm not-
Has
I'm
anyone
honestly-
else got a certificate to
I'm
show
not-
that they've done
yeah,
land
I've got
surveying?
I
I've got
haven't, but-
certificates.
Yes.
I've got certificates.
Go on then. Let's have a look. Let's see it.
I've got certificates
No, I'm
that I
not showing
did
you mine,
automatic
because I'm not talking
interpreting
to-
courses.
Let's
with-
see your land surveying certificates.
It's the
Everybody
same.
get out your land surveying certificates.
I haven't, but that doesn't qualify you to actually make a judgment or be an expert in anybody else here.
I'm not
Dave.
an
It doesn't mean
expert,
anything.
and I've never said that. I
Then
have
why-
said
but
though
why-
that I do
then
have a
why-
certificate.
Why are you getting
Don't
upset
worry
then?
about it. Don't
Why are
worry
you getting
about
upset?
it.
Why are you getting upset, Bev? Why are
I'm
you
not
getting
getting
upset?
upset.
Yeah, we
You
know
know,
you're
I'm
not
not
an
getting
expert.
upset.
Bev, we know you're not an expert, and that's why we'd rather.
I'm
listen
not
to
the one
people-
that's saying
and
there's a
that's-
correction to a horizontal.
And that's why we'd rather actually listen to the people who are experts.
Or is the
That's my
correction
point.
to the
who have
vertical?
who have done extensive study in this. You know, that's why we'd rather listen to them. And they disagree with you, Bev.
So your correction that you said is in these books. I've never seen
Yeah.
it. Is that a correction to the horizontal or a correction to the vertical?
Vertical.
It's a correction for elevations that you have to make.
Vertical measurement then.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Over a distance.
Over
So if
what
you've never
distance?
measured more than 50 meters, no, you probably wouldn't have ever applied that, mate.
Well, we have. We've got a realizing Euclid test. It's 600 meters.
Have you done your bubble test with that? Your water level test with that?
Yes. The entire thing
And-
is
and-
realizing Euclid. It's based
So
upon
have you
water
shown-
levels.
So
Yeah.
have you tested what we've shown on your board there to see that the two things spot to the same location?
Yeah, there's no slope to the water level. That's what we proved. All points. One part of
No,
a
no,
straight line
no.
cannot be in a plane,
Did
and
you
another
set up-
part without it. That's
Sorry.
what we did.
Sorry, Bev. Did you set up as per the things on the board there in front of us?
No,
So you
the
haven't done it.
realizing Euclid test. Yeah,
So you haven't done that.
Nobody in their right mind would ever cite an auto level with an auto level. That's something fictional
But they do it.
thing.
with
It
No,
theodolite
doesn't.
and get the
No,
same
they
result.
don't. No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
They
Bev.
do.
Well, I mean, certain people, YouTube characters do it.
No,
But they
that's-
don't. In reality, they don't actually do it.
they do. Like,
real
Noah-
surveyors don't actually do it.
Yeah, they
That's
do
the-
actually, Bev. They do actually, Bev. And Blue's presented such data to you from Noah as well. I know he has.
Yes.
And what's the procedure called?
But
And
Travis,
what's it used for?
Measuring
they haven't done-
differentials in elevation. Is that if you're talking about reciprocal zenith angles, that's how they get differentials in elevation, Bev.
Differential
geodetic
leveling.
survey.
Differential
No, no.
leveling doesn't require
No, Bev,
angles.
that's not you only know a tiny, tiny little thing. You know one little fact and you know it about an auto level. You have no idea what a theodolite
Just
actually
talking
does.
about a
How they use it,
horizontal.
Bev. Stop talking over me. I'm answering your question. In geodetic surveying, they use reciprocal zenith angles to determine elevation differences between two positions. And every time I've shown you information data taken all the way back from the mid 1800s up through the 1970s, and again by Larry and Jesse up in Maryland. And every time those zenith angle measurements are made, there's an excess in over 180 degrees between when you add those two zenith angle measurements together. That can only happen if the verticals are not parallel with each other. There's no other condition that would be true for.
But horizontal and vertical are perpendicular.
At a point,
at the point.
1 point only.
But if you have a horizontal from A to B, right, then the perpendiculars at each end of that horizontal will
we
be
don't have a
vertical.
horizontal from A to B, Bev. We have a horizontal at A and we have a horizontal at B, but we
Correct.
don't have a horizontal from A to B.
So can you establish a horizontal from A to B?
No,
Yep.
No,
Well,
Wait.
you can.
no.
Come on, guys.
It's
No,
only
no,
a
no, no,
horizontal.
clarify.
It's only a
In the
horizontal
middle.
in between those 2 points.
Make your
Yes.
mind
in
up.
the middle.
At the center
Yes.
point, it would be a horizontal. It would be what you call a horizontal.
Could you make a straight line from A to B and make that line horizontal?
But
Define
wouldn't
horizontal, Bev.
It wouldn't be level.
Sorry,
though.
straight line or plane.
You got a straight line
with zero
Define
slope.
horizontal. Define horizontal, Bev.
Fucking hell,
What are you
Blue.
calling horizontal?
All right, are you going to let me go?
Perpendicular to vertical.
Do you want me
Is
to
that your
define it,
definition?
or are you going
Yeah, I
to keep
want you to.
talking?
Can you do that? Do you
Are
think
you
you
going to
can?
shut up?
No, I'm not necessarily going to shut up. You don't. Why should I?
So you're asking me to define it.
Yeah, do it. Go.
Okay. A horizontal line or plane exists with zero slope. In reality, it is measurable and defined by a tool called a level. That's what horizontal is. Now, the entirety of the horizontal plane will be classed as horizontal with zero slope.
Zero slope with reference to what?
The plane with no
Which
part
plane?
being
Which
higher
plane? Which
nor
plane?
lower. Fucking hell. The horizontal plane.
Saying the horizontal is not sloping to the horizontal. That's circular reasoning, Bev.
I don't think so. I just got asked to define a horizontal plane and you interrupted me.
And you said
Because
that
you got too
horizontal-
triggered.
You said a horizontal was something that wasn't sloping, but sloping with reference to what, Bev?
With the horizontal plane, there is no slope to a horizontal plane. Is that not clear enough? Is anybody
it's
else
not.
having a problem
it's
with
clear
that?
that's circular reasoning, Bev, because you're saying that the horizontal is not sloping to itself.
Yes. At no point is neither higher nor lower than any other point within the plane. It's a very geometric, mathematical statement. Surely you've seen it. You know the concept of it. You reference things towards it within a mathematical setting. Everybody knows what a horizontal is. They're all parallel. You've seen them in
they're not.
mathematical graphs,
But in reality, they're not.
but they are within mathematics, right? They
in
are
reality-
perpendicular. They
But
are
in real,
parallel.
But-
All horizontals
but
within
in real surveying,
mathematics
they're not.
are parallel.
But in real
We're not
surveying,
talking-
they're not, though, Biv.
They're not actually.
We're not talking about mathematics, Bev. We're talking about the real world here. We're
Yes,
talking
we
about
are
surveying.
talking about
We're talking about
mathematics.
the Earth. We're talking about making measurements. And in reality, horizontals are not parallel. Horizontals are only horizontal at one point. That is the point where they are perpendicular to a gravity vector. That only occurs at one point. Any other point along that line that you call horizontal is not going to be perpendicular to gravity.
Delusional.
No, I'm not delusional, Bev.
Yeah, you are.
You just don't know
You're
what the
so
hell you're
model
talking about.
obsessed. You
You're
can't
just sitting
see.
there lying to people.
I'm not lying to
Yes, you are,
anybody.
Bev.
Horizontal
liar.
and vertical are perpendicular.
No, they're
And an
not.
auto level is a tool for establishing a horizontal plane of reference, as is
You wanna-
a water level. Don't get
You wanna-
upset about it. It's
You want
just
to take on
reality.
Davis Foote and Kelly? This is one of the best surveying books ever written. You want to take them on? Want me to show it to you? I can do that.
Mhm. Does it say that horizontal and vertical aren't perpendicular?
You bet your ass.
Mhm. Wow.
Have a look at it. This is where the information comes from, Bev. Out of textbooks like this written by professional surveyors. People that know what they're talking about, not like
You
you.
have uncovered a massive conspiracy here, guys.
Right.
No, that's
No,
that's
we've
what I.
No,
just
we're just
got one
exposed
dude
to
on the internet that doesn't know what
stupidity
he's
of
talking about.
intergalactic proportions.
I'm not a surveyor, but I did work for a surveying company for 8 years, and that was definitely how we did it.
What you prove that vertical and horizontal aren't perpendicular.
Well, that's when we're doing long distance traversing, we have to check the angles all the time, and when you do long enough distance, that becomes reality.
Mhm.
And you don't set up. And just to clarify a point you said earlier, you set up an auto level, as you call it, to a horizontal plane. You don't. You set up an auto level on a vertical, and that is established as that horizontal plane to that vertical. So I'm sure you've set up an auto level, right? Or you've really seen it. But you don't just hang the auto level in the air and then stick the tripod to it. You get your plumb up first, don't you? That's the
No.
first thing you do. You
No.
don't. You don't set it up plumb.
You don't set the plumb up, no.
Then how do
I've
you
never
set
done
it?
that. Well, you start off by doing a 2-peg test to make sure it's within.
No, you don't.
calibration.
How do you physically set up the auto level in the
Yeah,
first
how do you
place?
know?
Before
How do you know the order level's
two
vertical?
peg test? How do you physically set it up?
You can wait and see when we do the videos of how we do it, and we've already taken people through these process.
I don't mind if you don't know. That's fine.
So
Just say
it's
I don't know.
so bad that
But
you're
if-
so far behind.
I've
but
got a
we
rough
have
idea
we've
how
had
you
actually
do it without
shown
even
people
knowing,
how
even reading the
it goes
textbook.
and how it gets
But
done. Of the multiple
that's a
times
really
we've been out there to do this.
That's a really simple thing for someone who's used an auto level to know. So you're saying you don't know how to do it, or you just don't want to tell me?
I've never used one,
No,
and
we
I reckon
do
I'd know how to
go
do it.
out
I'd do it
and
without
I'm
even
not
show
knowing.
asking about you
people
personally.
This
Do
thing,
you know
we've
how to do it or
already
not?
done it. Timbo,
Okay.
So I'm
is that-
asking you personally, do you know how to set up an auto level or not? I don't mind if
Yes.
you don't. But you don't. You do. So,
Obviously, yes.
so the first thing you do is put the tripod down, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, you drive to the position that you're going to go to first,
Fine.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
And then
then
you
keep going. Then.
set the auto level up, right?
Oh, yeah. No. How do you set the auto level up? That's the bit I want to know.
You screw it onto the base,
Yeah.
right?
And then screw that onto.
Yeah.
And you screw
And-
that onto. Sorry, I'm waiting for you. What do you screw that
Then
onto?
you set the auto level up.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
You're missing
Yeah.
a few steps there, mate. That's okay.
Yeah,
if you don't
that's
know, I
the
don't
bit that we
mind.
want you to
Wow.
expand on, Biv.
Hell. You guys,
Yeah,
are
no.
geniuses.
How do you set the auto level?
Well, like I
Because
said, you
that's the bit I
can,
wanna know.
wait
Screw
and
it
see the video that
onto
we're going to be doing when we go out
base.
there to do this sort
I'm
of stuff.
surprised you haven't done that already. You've been talking about it for a few years. Anyway, that's fine.
We have
All
done
I'm
it.
just pointing out is, all I'm
We have
pointing out is,
definitely done it already.
yeah, I believe you.
Yeah.
I'll wait to see it. That's all. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'll
Jolly
tell you
good.
how I also did a surveying certificate too, by the way. So yeah, I've been there.
So you've got a certificate, have you? A land surveying certificate.
Mine was in spatial data information, but surveying was one of the subjects.
Yeah. Well, that's why my one just says land surveying.
Yeah,
Like it's a
Just one
standalone
subject. Yeah.
qualification. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Just
can't
for
find
land
it when I tried to
surveying.
find it, anyway. I couldn't find one like that, but anyway, okay. Let's assume that's
I
right.
know it's
But
unique.
if you
That's
had
why.
that-
That's why I'm so proud of it. Nobody
Yeah,
else.
yeah.
I know that nobody has a land surveying certificate within this genre. I
I
find
wonder
it
why that is.
amazing. Don't worry about it.
I wonder why
So
that
when
is.
you did land surveying, they would have got you to set up and do a level traverse, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
We had to
obviously
plot
must
it.
know
We
how
had
to
to
do it.
draw it. We had to map
No, you
it
had
all
to
out.
physically do it. You had to physically do it though first, obviously.
Yeah, we had to measure it and plot it. Yeah, we had to do the whole
Yeah,
thing,
Yeah, with setting
like
up your level and
cartography
getting
and
your stuff.
mapping it out and transposing it onto
No,
a.
I'm talking about with
did all of
with
that.
the auto level. With the auto level, you had to do a physical traverse, didn't you?
Yeah, using horizontal planes,
Yeah, which you established by
parallel
getting the
horizontal
perpendicular,
planes.
which you established by getting the perpendicular at the point that you're at, right?
We had to make sure that all of the horizontal planes that we were using would be parallel to each other, otherwise we would get false readings.
No, you
So
didn't.
when
That's
we
not
set
what
it
you
up, we
actually
made
told me.
sure that set it up every time to make sure that the horizontal
not what-
planes are constantly
How did you do that?
parallel.
You're telling me your teacher told you to set up a horizontal plane. He didn't tell you to make sure that you had it your level perpendicular to your plumb, Bob.
Of course, everybody knows that level and horizontal, level and plumb
Yeah, perpendicular.
are perpendicular to each
Perpendicular.
other, aren't they? Everybody knows that.
Yeah, so you set up the plumb first, right? Yeah.
But you just
Yeah,
said
and
earlier,
then-
your guy said that they've proved that they're not perpendicular, or vertical and horizontal aren't perpendicular. That's what.
What
That's
did they
not
say?
what was said.
No, tell me.
No, that's what you
sorry,
said, Blue.
No, tell
That
me
is
what
not
Blue
what
said.
we
Sorry,
said.
what did he say exactly? Because I believe you. I just want to make sure you've understood what they actually said, because that's not what they said. What
I
did you say
said
they
that
said?
vertical and horizontal are perpendicular, and Blue said
At that,
they aren't.
at that point, he said at
Only
that
at one
they
point.
are at that point. That's what he said. Don't misrepresent him. You don't like to be misrepresented. That's what he said.
Well,
They are perpendicular
perpendicular
at
is
that
two
point.
straight lines.
Don't
No.
gish gallop either, Bev.
That's not gish gallop.
No,
That's a mathematical
is.
fact. That
Perpendicular
perpendicular
is
is
one
two
line.
You're
straight
gonna
lines.
go run and hide in some corner now.
And what's like? Let's say this. But so what? It's 90 degrees at between two lines. So
Mhm. How long is
And?
the vertical?
infinite,
Okay. How long's the horizontal?
infinite.
Okay. So perpendicular to the horizontal and perpendicular to the vertical at any point along its infinite length will have a perpendicular.
Yeah.
Make a
The reference,
grid
the reference-
system like
the
everybody knows
to
within
the reference-
mathematics.
to the reference point, they will. Yes.
So everybody knows the understanding that all horizontals are parallel within
No,
mathematics.
that is not everybody's understanding, but okay, that's your understanding.
Okay. So you don't have an understanding within mathematics that all horizontals are parallel.
No, that's not how we do it.
Okay. That
Because
is
I've-
definitely different than me. I have an
Because-
understanding that
Because I come from
all
because I come
horizontals
from a
are
surveying-
parallel.
Sorry, Bev. Because I come from a surveying background, I don't have that. That's how I started in my design process. I was worked for a surveyor for 8 years. So no, I don't have that. We never assumed that.
Well, all elevation
to-
profiles have a horizontal baseline, don't they? With all points
They have a hor-
of
have
equal
a
elevation
horizontal.
being shown on a
No,
horizontal.
they don't have a horizontal
No.
baseline.
If I draw profiles all the time. They have elevations referenced to a datum.
Which is horizontal in every.
No.
Which is level.
It's horizontal. Yeah.
No,
in
it's
my
not
case,
horizontal. It's level.
In my case, it's AHD, Australian height datum, and that's got a spherical base. So no, that's not true.
Have you got any elevation profiles where that shows to be true? Because
What? That an elevation profile, which is just going to show the height difference, is going to, of course, they're going to be in a straight line. That's how we do it. That's why we have a difference between a section and an elevation.
so they are horizontal then. That's good.
No.
We
They're
agree.
they're drawn horizontal in the plan. Is that what you're saying? Just because they're drawn horizontal plan, that's means
They
what
are. Yeah, they are drawn horizontally on the plans. Yes.
That's a
Well,
convenient.
they're drawn vertically, actually. They're drawn vertically, but the datum line is drawn horizontal. Yes.
Okay.
So if I actually
So what's
drew it to
the
match curve-
disagreement then?
if I actually drew it to match the curve, do you know what? Bev, it would be horizontal as well.
What?
If I drew the horizontal datum line to match the curve of the Earth, do you know it would be horizontal as well at the scales that we're working on?
But it's horizontal. It's a straight line.
It's
You're not
drawn at-
suggesting
curve.
that it does actually curve, because horizontals definitely do not curve.
How many times do we need to tell you this? Those elevation profiles are drawn that way as a convenience. It doesn't matter what the shape of the datum is. The datum could be a sine wave for that matter. You're only measuring a difference above the datum. That's all the thing is showing you.
You know, I've drawn elevation profiles of subterranean elements like different materials underneath it, and we actually do that reference to the surface of the Earth, as in like the actual topography.
To the horizontal plane.
No, to the topography.
Okay.
So if you're going up a hill, and the depth of the
The
material
elevation
underneath,
changes.
no, the change from the surface, the actual physical ground surface to the material underneath, if that was all the same, even though it's going uphill, that would show as a straight line on those profiles, because the elevation is the same difference all the way through. So
If the
when
elevation
you pick a
changes, you
datum
can
line-
measure it vertically.
So you can have a datum that is all over the place if you want.
But you can
So I've had
measure
that-
an elevation change through a vertical measurement.
Yes.
Yeah, it's called the vertical datum. That's because any
No.
elevation changes will be measured on the vertical.
Yeah, but what if your datum is the surface of the Earth, like the physical topography of the Earth?
The datum is normally a mean, a mathematical
What if
mean.
it's
Yeah, but
not?
No. What if it's not?
Well,
As I said, I gave you an example where we're doing the depth
Well,
of materials underneath.
I
I
only deal with the UK, and we have
They
all
do that
points
in the UK too,
referenced.
mate. I
It's
worked
all
for a
right.
UK
Yes,
company.
don't worry
I
about
worked
it.
for a UK.
Yeah, yeah.
I worked for a UK company for a while. They do it in the UK as well, mate.
Mean sea level established at Newby.
No,
It's a
elevation.
mean.
They have datums. They establish a
It's a
datum.
mean.
And
Even
then you draw your profile.
Even
relative
when
to the
we were
datum.
talking to the guy at Bedford level, the guy that controls the locks, he references the levels of Bedford to that mean. That's what he said.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know whether
Yeah.
you're talking about a different thing, but that's not
That's-
what we do. In all of the elevation
reference.
markers and everything across the entirety of the UK, they are all measured and referenced to that one mean. That's it.
The reference to it's reference to the datum, I believe. Is that correct?
Newlyn, sorry. Newlyn,
datum?
yes, the mean.
And-
Yes,
and you've
it's a vertical
you've read-
mean.
And you've read the definition for that datum?
It's a mean. I understand the mathematical
You
mean.
don't, obviously.
Yes.
You obviously don't understand the datum, though. Anyway,
All points are referenced to that.
the datum.
Are all points in the datum coplanar, Bev?
all the points on the mean.
No,
They
the
coplanar.
datum.
If they
Are they
are all
coplanar?
at an equal elevation, yes, they will
all-
be coplanar. Yes,
No, they're not though.
they
They're
are.
not. That's,
They're measurably
Talk-
not, Biff.
talk to your own surveying. What's the British one? Sorry, I can't remember the name of
Ordnance
the British one.
survey.
On the survey, talk to them,
Yeah.
see if they agree with you.
You see
Anyway,
that?
No, there's
moving
none
on
agree
from
with
that.
The UK National Tide Gauge Network, Newlyn Tidal Observatory. The
No,
Tidal
no, actually-
Observatory was established to determine the mean sea level, that is the starting point for levelling in the UK. This brass bolt is the benchmark for the whole of the United Kingdom. That is,
I am quite
all
aware.
heights are referenced to this point.
Yeah,
That's what I
and
go
the
with.
the
And it's
datum.
not a flat plane, Bev. It's not a flat plane.
They're all
Now-
referenced to that point. And
No,
they
the
are
reference to the
referenced
datum.
on a vertical scale, a vertical
No, but-
datum. They're measured
A datum.
vertically.
A datum. Yay, you got it. A datum. Yes, they are referenced to the datum. Now,
Yeah, and that
moving
datum
on
isn't
from
a
that-
flat plane, Bev.
It's that
Yeah.
point.
Now we're going
Do you
around
want me
in
to read
circles.
it
You're not-
again?
I know more about it than you. Let's
point of
leave
the
that 'cause
brass
you're not going
bolt.
to change your. You can research it. You're wrong, but that's okay. You said also that in locks and water levels, you know that there's a height difference between the Atlantic and the Pacific Ocean, right? How do you
Within the
explain that?
canal.
Yeah, from one end to the other. There's
In
14
between
centimeters.
locks.
No, from one end to the other end. It's 14 centimeters. The Panama Canal, I'm talking about, by the way. Average is between 14 and 17 centimeters. How does that work if all water finds its own level?
The Panama Canal has a difference.
Yeah, look it up. Just type, what's the difference between the Atlantic and the Pacific Ocean level?
Is there a difference between the what's the other one?
I think
Suez.
you have to tell me. You have to tell me.
The Suez.
Sorry, there's a few oceans. The Suez, probably, but I can't name that one off the top of my head. I'd have to look.
Because that doesn't have any locks, does it?
Let's have a.
I know the Panama
level-
Canal does actually have locks, so that would indicate a level change, definitely.
And yeah,
The, re-
and as I
the,
said,
the reason why it doesn't have locks is it's going from one ocean to another ocean. Whereas you've got a canal, standard canal, which is a freshwater canal. Quite often they will change it. They have elevation change. Yeah, they have elevation
yeah, that's right.
changes.
It's a lot. Yeah, to go up
So-
the hill and back down again.
So to go from one ocean to another, you don't need an elevation change, do you?
We
Hence,
do
that's
for
why
the
it's got locks.
Panama.
Yeah.
You do for the
Well,
Panama
remember-
because you've got to go up and down.
Yeah, well, that's because that's got an elevation change. Yeah,
Yeah, Panama's got a bloody great range of mountains running down the middle of it. So
Exactly,
You're going
yeah.
to get up over the top of them.
yeah, exactly.
Whereas the ground between the two ends of the Suez Canal is basically not much more than sea level. It's about as flat as it is round here.
Yeah, apparently the Suez has a difference. Someone here said 40 they've measured 47 centimeters, but apparently the average is around 10 to 5 centimeters. Depends where you're measuring it.
The average difference
Yes.
between the water.
You can look that up. I'll let you guys explore that one. I've hit that one on you without you having seen it before.
Yeah,
you
it
can
sounds
investigate it
impossible, but hey,
Well, you can investigate it yourself. So
I guess
you know.
the science of the not that would definitely be able to do that sort of stuff.
Well, anyway, you guys can look into that. Terry, sorry, I hope I wasn't talking over you. Do you want to go on with the show? No, I don't know if you wanted to go on with the show. Where do you want to be? You can get a quiz.
Mm.
We didn't get to finish Lindsay. You're still going, by the way. Mm. I don't think even Bev agree with Lindsay.
Do you guys have when you think of horizontal, what do you sort of picture it as? Is there anything that conjures into mind?
It depends on what the reference point is.
Horizontal. Everybody knows what horizontal is. So
yeah, that's my first thing. Is what's horizontal to? You asked me, and that's my answer.
Yeah, that sounds strange to me because if somebody says picture vertical, what would that be? Would you be able to have something that comes to mind to conjure up a mental image of vertical?
It's usually a plumb bob for me.
Okay, so there is a plumb bob, right? Whenever you consider vertical, but when somebody says, have a look at what do you imagine as horizontal? You say, what you need something to reference it to. You needed nothing for vertical.
Yeah. It's not right, but anyway.
We've got gravity. That's what we reference vertical to, Bev.
Yeah.
Okay. A plumb bob.
What goes down? Yeah, what goes down, and to me, the gravity makes the plumb bob go down.
Vertical.
That's the one and only thing we got.
Okay.
Vertical.
So that is a straight line, geometrically.
Yep, infinite.
Straight line in every sense of the word, Bev.
And a straight line is definitely Euclidean.
Well,
in its foundations, that understanding of what a straight line is with its fundamentals is that Euclidean geometry, right?
Why is it being Euclidean important to you, Bev?
Because the understanding of the straight line is what governs our entire existence. But yeah,
distance between 2 points is a straight
people's
line.
Understanding of a straight line is fundamental.
If you have to go back to the point of understanding what a straight line is, you are really, really way behind the curve.
And well, we do understand what a straight line is, at least mentally, right?
Every 8-year-old on this planet knows what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and the fundamentals behind that, which govern geometry and mathematics, logical understanding.
It's not some great accomplishment, Bev, to understand that the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line.
I know. And perpendicular is governed by the straight line. You can't have perpendicular without the straight line, which means that the straight line comes in tow with perpendicular. They both exist simultaneously the moment you start with a straight line.
I can have perpendicular to a curved surface, Bev.
Yeah. Anyway, can I ask a question, Bev? When you think of a straight line, do you think of it as 3-dimensional or 1-dimensional or 2-dimensional?
The concept of it is geometric. So all of the foundations of the geometric system apply to it.
Yeah.
They all come together.
That wasn't what I asked. I asked how you envision it. You asked me how I envision things. I answered you. I'm asking you how you envision it. Do you see it as a line drawn on a piece of paper, for example, on top of a desktop, or do you see it as 3-dimensional? Like, could be anywhere. This point XYZ to this point XYZ. I'm just curious.
Okay. For me, the straight line, the fundamentals of a straight line are governed mainly by the diameter. But that means that the diameter can transpose itself to the hypotenuse of a right-angled triangle. That governs straight. Okay. I know, I've probably lost you. I know, don't worry about it.
What's the diameter? What's diameter in any of this? Sorry. Isn't a straight line the distance between 2 points? Is that not what you believe?
Isn't that not a circle?
Envision?
Is that not a circle?
A straight line between 2 points. Straight line. The word straight line is a straight line, not the shortest distance between 2 points. Isn't that not?
Yeah. Like a radius. A radius would definitely be a straight line, wouldn't it? And By
the
that
measurement-
governing of that, you should
No,
know
sorry,
that
sorry.
a diameter is also a must be straight line. There's no way a diameter could not be straight because they're of the
I don't have-
fundamental understandings of how people
Well, personally, I
understand
don't
a
have a
straight
problem
line. I don't know. Yeah,
I personally don't have a problem with that.
good.
Or diameters, whether it be on a plane, a circle, or a sphere, or a straight line.
The diameters, yes, they're straight lines. They have to be. Otherwise, you
that-
lose the relationship of pi within your fundamental
and
mathematical
what's-
structure.
But I don't understand why, when I talked about a straight line, because funny enough, straight lines are outside of circles as well. Why you had to bring diameter into it? I don't get that.
Because that's at least we can have a fundamental understanding that there is no other way with a diameter. The moment you talk about diameter, you're bringing in pi. And the understanding of that is absolutely mathematical.
Did I
Right,
bring
so
up?
we are all
Did I?
in the fundamental understanding of our mathematical knowing about what straight is. That's why I brought it up.
So I understand what you said through there, but you still see straight line. It's just the shortest distance between 2 points, right?
In reality, yes,
That's
it can be measured,
I don't
can't
see-
it? To be
I
so,
don't- I don't-
it can be
I don't
measured.
see why you had to go through that whole other thing just to say that. That's just weird.
Just so you
Okay.
absolutely know, right? There can be no mistaking now what I consider a straight line to be, can there?
And because initially it was just I wanted to know whether you saw it as a planar, like on one plane, or whether you saw it as it could be three-dimensionally anywhere. That was all.
Yeah, like a diameter of a circle.